Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at a daily devotion titled Safe in Jesus, Sealed for Glory. It's really about finding, real security, real hope when life throws those curveballs.
Yeah.
And our mission, I guess, in this deep dive is to kind of unpack what this message truly means for you. It's not about like dodging the tough times, but more finding that solid ground, that anchor right in the thick of it.
Exactly. And we're really focusing on two main themes from the text. First, this powerful idea of God's protection, like deep protection for those who belong to him. And second, the incredible promise of salvation and ultimately coming home through Jesus.
Okay, let's get into that first one then, God protecting his people. The devotion mentions this pretty striking image from Revelation 7 and talks about 144,000 people being sealed before judgment happens. What's a key way to understand that sealing?
Well, it's interesting. Some people might take that 144,000 very literally, but many scholars, many perspectives see it more as symbolic. It represents the completeness of God's people, all of them, from all tribes, symbolically speaking. So the sealing itself, it isn't necessarily about, being physically bubble wrapped at that moment. It's more about God's intimate knowledge, his awareness, and the guaranteed safeguarding of everyone who truly belongs to him.
Okay. So less a literal head count, more like the total security of God's family, regardless of the chaos swirling around. Is that kind of it? The text says, God never loses track of his people. I like that phrasing. Even in chaos, he knows who belongs to him. If you're in Christ, your soul is secure. Now, that feels, really comforting, especially these days.
It really is. And if you think about the bigger picture, it offers this deep and lasting reassurance. It's not saying you won't face any difficulty. That's not the promise. But it is saying that even when challenges come, your ultimate safety, your belonging, it's secure. It's held firm by God, which, makes you wonder, doesn't it, for you listening? In a world that often feels so chaotic, how does knowing you're deeply known, deeply protected, how might that change how you face your day?
Yeah, that definitely gives you pause and makes you think. And the devotion gives some practical ways to live this out. Things like remembering God's care when things are hard, finding real comfort in knowing you're not forgotten, you're not lost in the crowd, and facing the future without being totally ruled by fear, living with this quiet inner confidence because you know where you stand, you know you belong. So it's about letting that truth kind of seep into everyday life.
Precisely. Yeah, it's a shift, really. Moving from maybe anxiety and insecurity to being anchored in a deeper peace.
Okay, so that's the protection set. Let's pivot to the second lesson, which is Jesus saving us and eventually bringing us home. The devotion paints another amazing picture here. A huge crowd, right? Too big to count. From every nation, wearing white robes, holding palm branches, celebrating. What's the heart of that image?
Yeah, that's a powerful one. The heart of it is really the glorious endpoint of salvation, this massive crowd. They represent people who've come through suffering, they've endured. And the white robes, that's about the purity, the cleansing they've received through Jesus, who's called the Lamb there. And the palm branches, historically, those signify victory. Celebration. So it's this incredible vision of final redemption, ultimate joy after the hardship.
Right. And the devotion emphasizes that our hope isn't really in dodging all the difficult stuff, but it's actually in Jesus carrying us through it. That's the key. And that one day, eventually, we'll stand before him, whole, joyful, forever safe.
That's a perspective shift, isn't it? Especially when you're right in the middle of something tough. It absolutely is. It reframes struggles completely. They aren't the end of the story. And this leads to some really practical stuff for now, too. The devotion suggests, keep going, persevere through difficulties, knowing they're temporary in the grand scheme. It talks about actively praising God, using worship, even when it's hard, as a way to kind of remind ourselves of that future reality, that truth. And it also nudges us to think, okay, how can I share this hope? And just generally maintain a hopeful view towards that future where suffering ends.
So it's about living now with that future hope in mind. Even when the present feels, pretty challenging. It's not just pie in the sky. It actually gives strength and purpose today.
Exactly right. It builds resilience, a deep forward-looking faith.
Okay, so to kind of wrap this up, this deep dive into safe in Jesus, sealed for glory, it really seems to boil down to this core truth, doesn't it? God knows you personally. He protects you. He saves you through Jesus. And he promises to bring you safely home.
Yes, and what's really powerful is how those two big ideas, protection and salvation, are connected. God's protection now isn't just about getting through today's troubles. It's like the down payment, the guarantee of that ultimate salvation, that eternal homecoming with Jesus. They're woven together.
That's a great way to put it, woven together.
Yeah.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to carry with you from our discussion. As you go about your day, just reflect on this. What does it really mean for you personally to live with that deep down assurance of being safe in Jesus? Amidst all the normal daily stuff, the good, the bad, the stressful, how might really grasping that, how might it subtly change how you see things, or maybe even the choices you make? It's definitely something powerful to consider.